Supercars are basically the ultimate human flex. They're loud, impractical, financially irresponsible, and somehow every car guy still wants one. But not all supercars are equal. There's a massive difference between successful dentist with a Porsche and Saudi prince casually ordering a Bugatti in exposed carbon. So today, we're climbing all 7 levels of supercars, from baby supercars to literal engineering hallucinations. Level 1, the baby supercar. This is the level where someone gets their first taste of attention. The car finally looks aggressive. It sounds expensive. Toyota Supra MK5, Nissan Z, BMW M2. These are the cars that make people think they've entered the supercar world. The Supra is basically modern internet culture on wheels. Half the owners are genuine enthusiasts. The other half upload reels titled, POV, Your Supra Just Offended a Ferrari Owner. The BMW M2 feels like a tiny gym bro with anger issues. Short wheelbase, huge power, looks permanently annoyed. M2 owners drive like every traffic light is a qualifying lap. And then there's the Nissan Z, which feels like the final surviving member of old-school Japanese car culture. Just engine, rear-wheel drive, and vibes. This level is chaotic, because owners still think modification equals personality development. But enthusiasts still respect this level. Why? Because these cars actually get driven, hard, not hidden inside climate-controlled billionaire garages beside vintage wine collections. Level 2, the I'm doing well in life supercar. Now we enter the dangerous territory. The cars are genuinely exotic now. Children point at them, valets suddenly become extremely careful, and your relatives start assuming you're secretly rich. Chevrolet Corvette C8, Audi R8, Lotus Emira. The C8 Corvette completely broke the internet when it launched. And Chevrolet showed up like, here's a mid-engine supercar for the price of a nicely optioned German SUV. And suddenly Ferrari owners got uncomfortable. C8 owners love reminding people about value. You could compliment the weather and they'd still respond with, yeah, but did you know this beats a Ferrari 458 in acceleration? The Audi R8 is the opposite energy. It doesn't scream for attention, it casually collects it. The R8 owner is usually someone who became successful without becoming unbearable. Still rich, still fast, but socially survivable. And the sound? That naturally aspirated V10 is one of the last great automotive masterpieces. No turbo vacuum cleaner sound, just violence. Then the Lotus Emira arrives like, hello fellow driving purists. Lotus owners don't care about drag races. They care about steering feels so much, it honestly becomes concerning. These people will genuinely say things like, you can feel the road texture through the chassis. Brother, please relax. Level 3, the celebrity car. This is where the cars stop being transportation entirely. Now, they're social media content. The ownership experience becomes 40% driving and 60% strangers recording you at red lights. Lamborghini Huracan Evo, McLaren 720S, Ferrari F8 Tributo. The Huracan is basically automotive caffeine. Everything is dramatic. Sharp angles, insane startup noise, bright colors that look radioactive. Huracan drivers don't enter tunnels quietly. That would be disrespectful to the V10. Then there's the McLaren 720S, which feels less like a car and more like teleportation technology. This thing is horrifyingly quick. You press the throttle and suddenly your soul is buffering. But the reliability jokes never stop. Owning a McLaren is like dating a supermodel who randomly throws plates at the wall sometimes. Worth it? Maybe. Stressful? Absolutely. Then the Ferrari F8. This car feels arrogant. Not in a bad way, just confident. Like it knows it's special. Ferrari owners at this level become emotionally attached to launch control. And somehow every Ferrari conversation eventually becomes, well, actually, Ferrari racing heritage, we know. You've mentioned Formula 1 17 times. Level 4, the track psychopath. Now the comfort disappears completely. These cars were engineered by people who looked at normal suspension and said, no, suffering creates speed. Porsche 911 GT3 RS, Lamborghini STO. The GT3 RS is basically the final evolution of the car enthusiast. Owning one means your weekends are gone forever. You now wake up at sunrise to chase lap times and discuss brake temperatures with men named Marcus. Porsche took an already fast car, then removed comfort, added insanity, and gave it enough power to rearrange your internal organs. The giant wing alone looks like it could generate weather patterns. And despite all the memes, the GT3 RS might actually be the most respected car here, because Porsche owners use them. Then comes the STO. The STO feels like Lamborghini accidentally legalized a race car. Everything about it feels angry. The noise, the steering, the entire personality. Driving this thing in traffic probably feels like bringing a chainsaw to a library. At this level, passengers stop enjoying the ride. Level 5, the Science Project. This is where car companies stopped asking, should we build this? And started asking, what happens if we ignore physics completely? Ferrari LaFerrari, McLaren P1, Porsche 918 Spider, the Holy Trinity changed the game forever. Before these cars, hybrid systems were associated with fuel economy. Then these maniacs showed up with nearly 900 horsepower and enough technology to launch satellites. The LaFerrari is pure Italian drama. Even standing still, it somehow looks emotional. Then the McLaren P1 arrives like a futuristic assassin. The P1 doesn't look friendly. It looks like it knows classified information. And then the Porsche 918, which somehow became the normal one, despite being absurdly fast. That's how insane this category is. 918 owners are usually terrifyingly intelligent people, like hedge fund managers who also casually own race simulators worth more than apartments. At this level, the cars become investments, and enthusiasts hate that because these machines deserve racetracks, not temperature-controlled prison cells. Level 6, the Automotive Art Gallery. At this point, owning the car isn't enough. Now it's about exclusivity, craftsmanship, legacy. These cars feel handcrafted by people who probably listen to classical music while machining titanium. Pagani Huayra, Aston Martin Valkyrie, Gordon Murray T50. The Pagani Huayra is honestly ridiculous. Every button looks like luxury jewelry. The exposed metal, the handcrafted details, the madness. Pagani interiors don't even feel automotive anymore. They feel ceremonial. Huayra owners are the type of people who say, I wanted something more emotional than a Bugatti. Then there's the Valkyrie. This thing barely looks road legal. There's so much aerodynamic tunneling underneath that the car practically becomes air with headlights. Driving one probably feels like surviving re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. And finally, the Gordon Murray T50. Car enthusiasts adore this thing, because while the industry chased screens and electric torque, Gordon Murray said, manual gearbox, lightweight, high-revving V12, driver first. It's basically the anti-modern hypercar, and that's exactly why people worship it. Level 7, the final boss. These cars no longer feel connected to reality. Bugatti Chiron Super Sport, Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut, Mercedes-AMG ONE. The Chiron Super Sport is pure excess. Not elegance, not balance, excess. A quad-turbo W16 producing absurd power while weighing roughly the same as a small moon. Everything about Bugatti ownership sounds fake. Tire costs, maintenance costs, insurance costs. Owning one basically means you've transcended budgeting as a concept. Then the Jesko Absolut. Koenigsegg engineers genuinely behave like Bond villains with calculators. This thing exists for one reason. Speed. Not comfort, not practicality, just how violently can we attack air resistance. And then the AMG ONE. Probably the most unhinged engineering project here. The engine needs warm-up procedures like military equipment. And somehow, that makes it cooler. The funniest thing about supercars is that nobody is ever satisfied. Supra owners want Lamborghinis. Lamborghini owners want Paganis. Pagani owners want one-of-one hypercars hidden in Swiss vaults. It never ends. Because supercars were never really about transportation. They're about emotion, noise, drama, childhood obsession, and honestly, the world would be way more boring without them. Subscribe before a McLaren dashboard warning light appears in your driveway.